So hi Joost, thank you very much for joining this expert interview. I do have to say that I've been very excited to meet you and to have this chance to talk. And the first time I learned about Wildride was when I was working on Conway brand radar, and I noticed that Wildride was actually a bit of an outlier in terms of traffic volume growth. At least according to my analysis, the brand grew almost 700% in terms of traffic in 2024. That finding also inspired me to have this interview with you and a lot of questions that I will have for you today. Actually, in expert interviews, we ask each guest about how they play the game of e-commerce. And that's the reason why I want to go a bit deeper this time, not into just the brand story per se, because probably you had the chance to tell it so many times, but also into reasons what made the growth possible. Wildride was launched around, I think, in 2020.
Indeed, it started in 2020. No, not we. I had a kid who was pretty heavy already in his second year. And I live close to the beach, so I walk to the beach every day with the kids. And like many parents would recognize, every time halfway, one of the two would point their arms into the sky and say, "Please carry me." So I did, which was heavy. So that's when I started looking for a carrier for toddlers. And this is when me and one of my two business partners, Britt, came up with the idea of the Wildride, the carrier itself. We couldn't find a similar product. So we started developing the typical shape that we have now, and have fine-tuned the product over the last 4 years, of course. But in those first 2 years, we developed the product. We tested it with parents, with physiotherapists. We tested it on safety and chemical hazards, and built the product to what it is today. And then when we finalized the product, we thought, okay, we want to have a product that is appealing to parents. So instead of, walk into any kids store you can think of, and most of the products have simple colors. They're beige, they're brown. And we thought, okay, we want to have products that are more lifestyle, that are more a product that you don't necessarily have to wear with a kid. But also which is appealing to fathers, because most of the products are always pointed towards mothers. I, as a father, also like to carry my kid or wear a product, of course. So that is when we stopped the further development, and we tried to change the designs. We tried to change colors. We don't have seasonal products because we think it's not sustainable enough. It's not sustainable anymore to have seasonal products. And now, 4 years later, we have a brand that is sold all over the world, sold in both retail as online in e-com. That we like a lot.
Amazing. That's a fantastic story. The reason why I also mentioned the timing was that I think throughout the almost 3 years of COVID, actually a lot of people changed their habits. Maybe some people changed their values or entered the next stage of life. And I think a lot of people became new parents, and parenthood was also redefined. And you were part of that with the brand too, as you mentioned, parenthood,
True.
not only motherhood.
No.
Was there any kind of signal that you were able to identify at that time that was not visible to others when it comes to seeing not only a trend, but also identifying like a viable business model that you can build out from those changing habits or perspectives of consumers?
Well, not really typical for that moment in life, but more or less that as a parent, you're always looking for something that makes your life easier. I have 4 kids myself, so a lot of things are happening all day, every day. Your day starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe even 5:30. So days are long. So you have to make your life as easy as possible. And in that case, I found that there was no product to relieve me when walking with 1, 2, or maybe even more kids. Then there's kids with who have special needs that need more carrying. I found it interesting that there wasn't a product that could solve that problem. But to really identify a business case, I don't know. It was just a problem which didn't have a solution, and we fixed that. But you only can find out this problem when you have kids. It was not really that was looking for the problem. There is this thing happening, and I can't find what for me is a good solution.
Yeah. And probably this way the business idea also becomes more like a mission, to improve the world a little bit, to
Of course,
have some positive impact, because you are one of the people who will also benefit from the solution, but you will help others as well. So that must be inspiring.
Absolutely. No, yeah, it's absolutely. I absolutely agree.
So you mentioned that you were testing the product in terms of safety. How did you validate the idea? I also heard in some of your previous interviews that you were going to fairs, talking to people, learning about the needs. Was that the main method you used to understand whether there's demand, or you did something else as well?
First, we really wanted to find out if the products if the product that we found, if it was really solving the problem, because it could be solving a problem for me, then I have a problem solved. But you want to know if it's solving a problem for other people. And indeed, we went to fairs, but we didn't want to become a fair brand. It's a bit unfair to say this, but we didn't want to become a fair brand. But we went to every fair that you can find in the Netherlands, but we wanted to understand how people think about the problem. And I think the best reference that we got was from grandparents that said to their parents, "You want to buy this? You don't know it yet, but you're gonna need this." And every grandparent said, "Oh, I wish this was there when I was a parent." And of course, it's a bad reference group, but we tested with friends, and then of course, then you're gonna make the big step. You're gonna test with people you don't know, and if those people like it as well, then you have a business case.
And now you continue launching new products, right? At least new designs, you mentioned.
Yeah, so what we did, we focused on being on the move with your kid. And then we started to think about products that you can attach to the carrier, because we got a lot of questions from people that asked, could you make a zipper in it so I can put my keys or whatever in it? So everybody can use the carrier at every moment you want to use it.
Mm-hmm. And the feedback that you get, is it from community or you actively seek for it?
So we have been actively building our social media community, of course, which in the end is a community that you talk to. But what we see is that, so after 2 years of building the brand and still doing all the customer care myself, we knew it was time to move forward with someone who was looking at the customer care. At that point, we started to go to every question that our customer care teams get. So one of our literally heroes, Amber, they make macros of all the regular questions to get more and better insights about the product, about how people use it. And she pushed that back to our production team. So, for example, we had to add a extra safety slider to the product. And for us, this slider was a logical add-on to the product, because we thought it's also on backpacks, so everybody understands what it is for. But it wasn't, because people watch our videos, they see how easy we do it, but we use the carriers every day, in every movie we make, in all the content we make, etc. So quite fast after the first batch of carriers with the additional safety slider went to the customers, we started to get a lot of feedback directly about that product. What is it for? Why can I not use the carrier as simple as you guys make it look like? So that is something that we all compiled, made new videos about, make macros about in our customer care systems. Now people better understand why we do it. Also understand that it's not that the old carriers are not safe. They're just as safe. It's just extra safety. So in that way, we really, we talk a lot with our community. We communicate a lot with them, and we get a lot of feedback.
And I do also believe how being a customer care person sometimes can be a hard job because you get bombarded with emails and messages all the time. But at
Absolutely.
the same time, it's so important to recognize the value in these questions, that these are literally the golden feedback you need
Yeah.
to further drive the brand. So is it mostly customer care inquiries that help you to understand the customer feedback about the product, or is there also some kind of a community or engagement flywheel that you are building to keep parents engaged, or maybe grandparents as well?
We as the brand are in the end e-commerce and online driven, but we also have about 7,000 retail points globally that resell the Wildride carrier. They also have ideas, of course. Last month we've been redesigning our packaging, for example. Retail asked if there could be a different way of showing this because they're in a completely different situation than we are. When you're in a store, you only have a very short moment or very short period when people pass a box that you can actually sell the product to the customer. So the approach should be very different from how we think from e-commerce to how retailers think in their stores.
So it's like on the D2C brand, you have all the P2P with all the information that you can see separately, and then the box is just nice packaging. Whereas if you are a retailer, you need all that
Exactly.
information placed on the box
Yeah,
already,
in
right?
10 square centimeters.
Wow.
So, but you have to think like a retailer sometimes while you're a D2C brand, and that, I mean, it's a great way of communication, of course, but it's also a great way to implement offline in your online strategies.
Is there anything specific that you've implemented to facilitate omni-channel sales, or at least engagement across different touch points during the shopping journey?
We implemented some online in our offline experience. It sounds very simple, but what we learned on the fairs is that people just want to. We're a new product. It didn't exist for before we started this. So a lot of people still don't understand what it is. And online and in social media, you can do a lot with video, of course. And that is something which is very hard in retail. What we started to do with retailers, that we send them POS material with a screen, with a video of how you use it. And those are videos compiled of our Instagram or how to use videos, etc. So that when people walk into the store, they immediately see what it is, how it works, and how it looks like. So that is something that we took from social media into retail, and we see that it boosts our numbers as well. It's also positive for the retailer because for them it's hard to compete online. It's hard to compete to build their own shop to get that, to keep that up. So if you can give them an experience in their store, they can add value to their customers who like to go to stores.
So if you can supply them with great input, not only product but also additional materials, it makes
Absolutely.
their shop shelves more beautiful, more engaging, and maybe keep the customers
Yeah,
at the store for longer. And also online, the shop has been growing tremendously.
absolutely.
With that
You
probably
know better than I
comes.
do.
Well, I discovered that from my own research,
Yeah, no, I know.
but I'm happy to see that it aligns with your numbers too. I'm
Absolutely.
curious, how did uh, how did you manage to tame the complexity that comes with that? Because scaling is also presenting different dilemmas. You know, when you want to scale, you need to open new sales channels, new markets, launch new products, but that also adds complexity. Maybe you made some decisions from early on that really helped you to scale the business today and continue scaling. So what has been your
Absolutely.
experience when it comes to that?
Um, we already you gave the answer yourself. We kept it all very simple. So there's as little as possible complexity as we need to have. So, and I have to really also thank my business partners for that, because everybody's very keen on asking each other all the time, is it a product that solves a problem that's already being solved by a product that we're already using? So we choose to use Shopify from the first moment that we started the business. And then when we grew into Germany, we asked ourselves, okay, is Shopify the right platform to use? Do we want to use a WooCommerce solution, for example, or Magento or whatever? And we found out pretty soon, fast, that not only does Shopify already offer you a lot of solutions within their own space, but the pace that Shopify is developing native tools within their platforms, there's no need for any other tooling that is out there anymore. I think for 90%, everything that we use, we can use native Shopify apps to give you the opportunity to scale faster, to move faster. The simplicity of the backend is growing every year. Our entire platform, we choose to have a very small collection of products, of course, but still, for us, it's so simple to open up new countries, to add new markets, new channels, etc., that there's still a lot of sales channels that we didn't even unlock yet, because we just decided that we don't need it yet, or we don't choose to use a marketplace, for example, yet, because we can now perfect the situation that we are in, make it as simple as we can, and then move on to the next sales channel that we want to unlock or amplify.
I'm actually curious. So when it comes to AI, because it's like a huge buzzword these days. There's a lot of hype about it. Where do you think Wildride stands at this moment? Do you have any ambition to explore the possibilities?
So no, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's foolish not to look at it. And it's foolish not to understand how you can use it. It's funny because I had a discussion about it with someone a few weeks ago. There's a lot of things and fields where we can use, for which we can use AI, right? For texts. So text would be a no-brainer. Of course, we use AI for texts. Wouldn't it be to enrich text? It's also to give us a certain path to follow, to get to blogs, to get to text, to get to product information, etc. Customer care also, I think, is a really no-brainer to help people get answers faster. But looking at pictures, for example, someone tried to sell me an AI tool to create pictures faster. But there, how do you say this? It's a bit of a tipping point. We are selling a product to parents. It's a very precious moment in time. You want to be authentical. We think, because this really is gut feeling, we really think that parents only believe real things because they're also in a real situation with real kids. We see a lot of dupes out there, and they all use AI, sometimes even really bad AI, to sell a duplicate of the product that we have thought of. Those products aren't safe. Those products, I mean, they sell a different story than we are. That's what you see in the picture. So that is a point where we decided not to use AI. But furthermore, I mean, yeah, you'd be crazy not to use AI, right? It can improve everything that you're doing, especially in e-com.
Yeah, and also in operations, for example, I don't know, fulfillment or data integrations. Not yet.
No, not yet. We have plans to do that. I have a huge list of things that we still need to do. I can't show you, but it's there. And logistics is one of the points. There's a lot of things that we still should do, but our team isn't that big, so we really have to choose what we want to do, and then optimize on the go.
Mm-hmm. And how do you make those decisions? Like, how do you prioritize the roadmap, what to work on and what to maybe skip for the next quarter?
So we always discuss with our marketing team what we have to improve on our e-commerce site. And there's, of course, a lot of options that you can choose. So we want to inform our customers better when their products will arrive, how long it will take, how much time it still takes, etc. So that is something that we're improving at this point. All those optimizations in the store are decided within the team, with our marketing team, with our content team, then of course with us. So it's a bit of a combination about what sales want, what marketing want, what e-commerce team wants, and how much time there is in a week. So there's a lot of things that always needs updates or upgrades.
And have you ever discovered any kind of tech that surprised you in terms of how beneficial was it or how valuable was it for the customer experience or maybe for the internal experience of employees in terms of processes? Do you maybe have some favorite software or tools that you use or your team uses at Wildride?
Yeah, well, so first of all, again, I don't want to advertise it, but Gorgias has really surprised me. For us, the ease of implementing was amazing, and how they upgrade the tool it's an expensive tool, but they really deliver, and we're really happy about that. And then, of course, Shopify keeps to amaze me. It really was for us the edge to scale faster and faster. To give you an idea, we have about 9 or 10 stores, all the same, but all for different regions, all operated by separate teams. So, for example, Japan is a completely different culture. I don't think I have to explain it to you. So what we did is that we decided together with our distributor in Japan that they would have full access to a copy of our global store that they will manage, that they can update, that they can put pictures in, etc. Completely focused on their culture, and that gave us the opportunity to just simply copy our store, translate it to Japanese, change pictures, and within a week we had a Japanese store operated in Japan with short shipping times, and we did that for several countries, so Japan, South Korea, but even UK, where we used to have a lot of issues with shipping because of Brexit. We now have a beautiful dedicated UK store operated from the UK, where products are being shipped from customers from a UK warehouse. So we don't have to do imports anymore. And also that store is being operated by a dedicated UK team in the UK. So that is something that really, surprised is a big word, but gave us the
Pleasant
opportunity
experience, right?
Yeah, it was a perfect experience. Yeah, definitely.
And so, you launched in so many different countries, also have so many partnerships with retailers. A lot of brands are really looking for that and trying to succeed at these kind of things. If you could give one advice to other e-commerce leaders, especially when it comes to international growth or cross-channel growth, what would be your number one tip? Maybe besides gorgeous, because
no, of course,
we had
sorry.
enough of praise for it already.
Of course, yes. But, no. Just a few tips are that, you just have to have a bit of courage, a bit of focus. We are bootstrapped. That helps. It gives you the opportunity to make your own decisions, to do everything that you want, not having to update Excels every now and then to keep someone else happy. I think, and of course, it's not always possible, but try to go as far as you can, bootstrapping your company, doing everything with your own money, because that's saves you a lot of headaches. And added to that, what I said, I would always go for Shopify, see what the opportunities are there, and see how you can build your company on a simple platform. And what else? Like we said before, keep it simple. Don't use every tool that everybody says you should use, because most of the time, what do you really do with it? Most of the time it gives you data that you might already have.
Mm-hmm. And would you do anything differently if you were to launch Wildride today instead of almost 4 years ago, 5 years ago, actually, right?
No. Yes, 2 days ago it was 4 years since we
Oh,
started the
congrats!
ecom platform. Thanks.
Congratulations!
Yeah. Would I do anything different? No. The only thing I would hire earlier. You need to focus on what you're good at, and you're not good at everything. I'm not very good at customer care, even though I like to think so. But there's a lot of other things that I need to do. So it's good to have a customer care team in place at an earlier stage. But we also did all the fulfillment ourselves until the point that we really couldn't do it anymore. I said we have an office in the middle of Haarlem. They were stopping trucks in front of our door asking us for the loading dock, which isn't here. So hire earlier, identify barriers to scale faster.
Yeah, I can
that's
imagine
what it
that when you're an entrepreneur, it's probably like a curse to put so many things on your plate and avoid a burnout probably as well, because if you do everything all at once, then it becomes really hard and maybe also frustrating. But at the same time, it takes courage.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and you want to control everything.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's about it.
That's a really nice takeaway.
Thanks.
And I see that
and just go.
our time.
Do whatever you want. I mean, just go for it. That's the only thing you can do. I mean, there's no way, once you start, there's no way back. So you always have to go for it and don't have to be scared of anything.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much, Joost.
Thank you, Aurelia.
I really enjoyed having this chat with you, and I wish you all the best with Wildride and also parenthood with 4 kids. That must be another venture.
It's also Wildride.
Yeah. Other 4 wild rides.
4 wild rides, definitely. No, I love it. I love it all.